And I've heard of you too, by the way. I've seen your videos.
Well, thank you so very much.
Yeah. So my name is Nicole, and I'm out here with Rising Tide and a lot of local environmental groups in the Chicago area, as well as Occupy Chicago. We're out here today because today's the beginning of the UN climate talks that are kicking off in Durban, South Africa. And we're here to show our support for climate solutions, get our leaders to really do what they need to do to stop climate change, and show them that we're supporting that work.
And tell me what we're doing here today.
Well, I'm John Peck with Family Farm Defenders. We're in front of the Board of Trade, Chicago Mercantile Exchange today, to basically protest the price fixing and carbon trading that's going on inside this building. And they're making a pollution into a commodity, and we think that's unfair. And people in the global south and those of us in the global north who care about climate justice think carbon trading is illegal and should be shut down. And all the price fixing in this building is not acceptable.
Okay, well, let's break some of this stuff down. Tell us about carbon trading.
Well, carbon trading is a mechanism whereby polluters can basically buy the right to pollute, and then they can sell them to secondary and tertiary markets. So what's happening here, we had carbon credits being sold here for years, up to $7.50 a ton for a while. Now it ended up bottoming out at a nickel a ton. And part of the reason for that is that there's all these surplus credits out there. So basically you can get credits for doing nothing, actually. That's what's the big joke behind carbon trading. It's sort of fictitious market. And our group would believe that, you shouldn't have the right to pollute in the first place. We should be reducing pollution, not trading it. And especially you shouldn't be getting credit for making up promises that you don't fulfill, which is what most of carbon trading is all about.
And how does carbon trading impact on agriculture?
Well, agriculture is being used as a way to justify carbon credits. So for instance, as farmers, we're told we should plant GMOs, Roundup Ready, soy and corn, for instance, and we can get carbon credits for that because supposedly we're sequestering carbon in the soil or some such thing using biotech crops. But if you're a small, organic, sustainable farmer, say in Africa, Latin America, Asia, you don't get carbon credits because you're not part of this bigger capitalist system. So, I mean, our position as part of Via Campesina is that small farmers, small-scale, sustainable, organic agriculture is actually the biggest solution to climate change. And we should be promoting that, not promoting corporate agribusiness, biotech crops. Those are false solutions to climate change. We have over 1 billion farmers in the world save their own seeds, for instance. So that's a large number of farmers. 15% of the world's food is grown in cities, whereas only 5% of the world's food crosses a border. So the global trade in food is actually a very small percentage of total agricultural production. So, I mean, the UN has come out with reports saying that sustainable agriculture is actually the solution to the global food crisis, not more industrial-style agriculture. And to be honest, in the United States here, 60% of our cropland is now devoted to corn and soybeans. Most of that's not going into human food. It's going into things like ethanol, high fructose corn syrup. I mean, things which really are empty calories or not even food crops. So if you want to talk about really feeding the world, that's what's being done most places. And this food crisis that it's basically another way for corporations to make money by promoting the food crisis. And that's partly caused by speculation in this building. Speculation on food as a commodity.
And still, we're only talking about 15% of all food as commodity in the entire world, and we're talking about billions and billions and billions of dollars on simply the speculation on the price itself.
Oh, sure, yeah, and that's you can make more money speculating on food than actually growing it. I mean, most farmers actually lose money growing food. The only way they can sustain themselves in the U.S. is by getting subsidies from the taxpayers. And we think farmers should be able to get a fair price for the food. And consumers should be able to get healthy, nutritious, local food if they want it. We should not be left to the mercy of, Kraft or ADM or Cargill to dictate our food system. And that's why, we're demanding antitrust action in this building. We have 3 or 4 food giants dictating world food prices in this very building, these traders. And they're violating antitrust laws. They're rigging the markets, they're price gouging farmers and consumers, and that's just intolerable. We should not put up with that anymore.
All right, well, how about subsistence farming, sustainable farming here in the industrialized West?
Well, I mean, the fastest growing segment of the food movement now is local, sustainable, grass-based organic. So even in Wisconsin, 25% of our dairy farmers are now grass-based. confinement operations, we only have about 250 of them in the whole state, factory farms. People don't want to drink industrial factory farm milk, for instance. They want to drink healthy local milk. And a lot of the big companies, even Dean's knows this. Dean's is the largest fluid milk supplier in the U.S. They trade here on this exchange. They bought out Horizon Organic because they knew the organic sector is the fastest growing sector. And unfortunately, they're corrupting the organic standards by doing that. So that's the whole problem with the corporate takeover of whether it's fair trade or organic or whatever. And we think the solution is food sovereignty. The idea behind food sovereignty is local democratic control of your food system. And that's what Via Campesina supports. That's what our group supports, Family Farm Defenders. And that's what we believe is the future of the food, the food justice movement. Is, if you're going to occupy the food system, which we're trying to do, reoccupy the food system, part of that is relocalizing your food economies, putting your money directly into the hands of a farmer at a farmer's market, getting schools to have more local food at the cafeteria, and not relying on corporations to feed you or imports of food that's really not sustainable.
And again, other than the produce level, let's talk about the network of distribution and retail. The horizontal monopolies on food distribution.
Yeah, and that's a huge problem. I mean, when the Department of Justice had their hearings last year on concentration of the food system, the last hearing was focusing on retail. It's a huge problem now because Walmart now sells 20% of all groceries in the United States. Where do they source their food from? China, all over the world, right? And we can't even get country of origin labeling for half of the fruits and vegetables we now consume. We have it for seafood, a few other things. And people are shocked when they go to the store now and see seafoods from Vietnam and China. If they really knew where their food is from, and we were importing 16% of all our food now into this country. We're no longer feeding the world. We're feeding off the world. And so we're importing 80% of our honey. People don't even know that because we don't have country of origin labeling for honey. If they picked up a honey jug and saw honey from China, they might be thinking twice about it. Is there melamine in this? What's in this? Who knows? So, the retail sector, you have corporate control all the way up the food system. And even to the point of land grabbing, where banks are now investing, buying up farmland because it has a higher rate of return, the S&P 500, because they know it's a limited resource. And, who controls the food controls the people. And, we need to reclaim our food system if we're going to reclaim our democracy.
Okay, is there any other issues that we haven't covered that you think are...
No, I think people need to not only, challenge what the illegal activities happening in this building, which is by demanding antitrust action, but they also need to withdraw their money from that system. They need to reinvest their money locally. Support farmers markets, support community support agriculture, start a community garden. That's how, if you can't feed yourself or know how to cook your own food, you're going to be at the mercy of these corporate giants, and we cannot afford that anymore.
Okay, well, if this is going to go out on the internet, is there any website, any place we can click through right now
people can find out more information about our group at familyfarmdefenders.org. Obviously, Via Campesina has a lot of information on their website. They're in Durban right now protesting climate injustice there. Many farmers are speaking out. And we're just thrilled that there's so many people who came out today. And this is where the seed of corruption happens. This is it. We need to speak truth to power. And that's why we're outside this building today.
Well, thank you. Thank you once again.
Yeah, you're welcome.